Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy. Today we're talking Tom Hardy, I guess.
Yes, you put him up there.
So we'll get into it, but SpiderMan Venom collaboration almost happened, but didn't. We were talking about him yesterday, and we never used him for a thumbnail, so I figured it was a good time.
Sure.
Also, Sydney Sweeney's in final talks for Gundam. So I don't think you have any opinions on this, but
no,
I do.
Not yet.
Okay, do you have anything else, or 20 minutes in Spanish?
15
minutes in Spanish.
Yes. Also, we are still running tests, so if you see things moving around, it's because we're doing tests. There's no earthquake and nothing bad is happening. And thank you for your patience. Okay, so yes, let's go.
You need to switch cameras so I can press record.
To Spanish. Okay. Buenas noches a todos, ¿cómo les va? Espero que todo muy bien. No hay tantas cosas de qué hablar, pero una vez... I did.
No. No, it's good.
Pero una vez más voy a tratar de ver si puedo hacerlo de hacer los clips. Entonces esta siguiente sección probablemente la vean mañana también y por eso no voy a estar poniéndole mucha atención por ahora al chat, pero muchas gracias y los leo justo después de que acabe. Pero de lo que quiero hablar hoy... espérame. De lo que quiero hablar hoy es sobre Luigi Mangione, este héroe de mucha gente, muchos progres en especial, que pues hizo algo que normalmente no se considera muy heroico, por lo menos no en la gente que tiene sentido común sobre este tipo de cosas, pero ahora parece que la Fiscalía de Estados Unidos pedirá pena de muerte contra Luigi Mangione por asesinato del CEO de United Healthcare. Ay, no sé si puedo decir esa palabra, pero bueno. Mangione, un ingeniero de 27 años, fue capturado en un McDonald's en Altoona, una pequeña localidad del estado de Pensilvania, y justo después de que pasó el evento de que desvivió a este CEO o director ejecutivo de una compañía aseguradora o que vende seguros de salud, seguros médicos, mucha gente empezó a verlo como un héroe porque se fue en contra del sistema de salud de Estados Unidos y todo, y lo ponían. Tengo amigos en Canadá y amigos acá que pues yo no discrimino con las posturas políticas de la gente y me gusta tener amigos de todo tipo, pero que empezaron a poner su foto y a decir que ay, que qué guapo y que qué bueno que lo hizo y que va a salvar que se está yendo en contra de todo el sistema médico y que qué bueno y deberíamos de elogiarlo y decir que es una gran persona por haber hecho lo que hizo, pero pues al final del día desvivió a un padre de 2 niños jóvenes que tenía una familia, que pues estaba haciendo su trabajo, cuya responsabilidad pues no cae 100% en él, que el sistema de salud en Estados Unidos esté completamente roto y que no funcione, pero pues por sus huevos, literal, decidió tomar la acción en sus manos y en sangre fría desvivirlo en medio de la calle a las 6 de la mañana. Entonces ahora, mientras muchos pues, de los demócratas de la izquierda estaban pensando que deberían de hacerle monumentos, ahora la nueva secretaria de Justicia de Estados Unidos, Pam Bondi, anunció el martes, que buscará la pena de desvivimiento para Luigi Mangione, el presunto autor del desvivimiento del presidente de esta compañía. Después de una cuidadosa consideración, he ordenado a los fiscales federales que busquen la pena de desvivimiento en este caso y aseguran un comunicado. A quien desvivió fue Brian Thompson, el presidente de United Healthcare, y es una de las mayores compañías aseguradoras en Estados Unidos. Pasó el 4 de diciembre del año pasado, o sea, hace no mucho. Entonces se está moviendo bastante rápido esta situación por obvios motivos. Y según Bondi, el desvivimiento fue un acto de violencia pública que fue premeditado y en sangre fría. El crimen y la huida de 5 días de su presunto autor cautivaron a los estadounidenses y muchos pues sí creían que estaba por lo menos un poco justificado en sus acciones, y ahora también queda pues la incógnita de la opinión sobre la pena de pues terminar con la vida de alguien que haya cometido un crimen. Mientras que él hizo lo mismo, básicamente, postura que yo creo que es la necesaria con la pena de muerte es que no se puede confiar al 100% que siempre el gobierno tome la decisión correcta o que tenga el culpable correcto de ciertos crímenes. Por eso, en gran parte, se abolió la pena de muerte. Pero ahora están tratando de revivirlo a nivel federal porque en Nueva York, que es donde está arrestado, ya no se abolió la pena de muerte hace varios años, pero lo están tratando de revivir a nivel federal y abre el cuestionamiento de si que el gobierno tome venganza o revancha por otros terceros ante alguien que cometió un crimen de esta gravedad, si eso es correcto o no, si es moralmente ético que el gobierno tenga la habilidad de desvivir a personas que cometieron un crimen, pero que tal vez en varios casos este tipo de condenas fueron erróneas y no era la persona correcta a la que terminaron quitándole la vida. Entonces, con la pena de muerte, yo siento que no es necesario. Por ejemplo, en este caso, nada más déjenlo que se pudra en una cárcel por años y años y años, no le concedan libertad, ni siquiera condicional, y pues que refleje y que reflexione sobre todo lo que se le ocurrió hacer y las motivaciones que tenía. En especial, a veces me da un poquito de asco justamente pensar que la gente lo vea como este gran héroe por el pueblo, cuando pues en realidad toda su vida fue, pues digamos, bastante privilegiada y que si cualquier otra persona se lo hubiera topado en la calle, de estas que lo apoyan y lo vieran o en su, porque sus papás son dueños de un, country club o de un club de golf, digamos, le hubiera dicho que tiene muchísimo privilegio y que pésima persona. Entonces hay que también cuestionar si sus motivaciones fueron porque tuvo problemas reales, porque se sabe ahora, o has leído más información ahora, de que Luigi Mangione ni siquiera era cliente de United Healthcare, o tal vez trató de serlo, pero se lo habían negado, pero tenía otro tipo de seguro médico y que sí estaba a punto que sí lo querían cubrir, pero él al parecer no lo quería. Tenía problemas de la espalda, puede ser muy, pues sí, puede sufrir uno mucho cuando tiene ese tipo de problemas graves de la espalda, pero obviamente no amerita ir a desvivir a personas cuando te niegan, ya sea tener una póliza o te niegan algún tipo de tratamiento. Entonces, con todo este caso, una vez más, lo que él hizo no creo que haya sido lo correcto, pero lo que el gobierno de Estados Unidos quiere hacer, pues tampoco creo que sea lo correcto. ¿Por qué? Porque no puedes quitar una vida y luego quitar la otra vida. O sea, no termina siendo moralmente justificado y pues terminan básicamente igual que Canadá, donde en vez de curar a las personas que tienen problemas médicos, deciden ofrecerles pasar a mejor vida de forma médica en vez de tratar de curarlos. Y también lo que me parece mucho con este tipo de discusiones, y en especial en Estados Unidos, donde sí el sistema está roto, y también en México tampoco funciona todo a la perfección, pero por ejemplo lo comparan mucho con el sistema de salud canadiense o europeos, por ejemplo en el Reino Unido o en varios otros lados, por ejemplo, Dinamarca, vimos la comparativa también, que son sistemas más bien que se acercan o tienden más hacia el, pues digamos, socialismo, donde todos tienen salud médica libre o gratuita, no libre, gratuita, pero que en realidad no es gratuita. ¿Por qué? Porque es pagada con impuestos. Y mucha gente trata de hacer esa comparativa con, es que ese sistema es muchísimo mejor, pero nada es gratis en esta vida, y no solo la gente paga con sus impuestos, pero también con su tiempo. Por ejemplo, el sistema canadiense médico está completamente colapsado, y el sistema médico está completamente colapsado en Canadá, aunque mucha gente todavía lo ve como esta gran esperanza, este foco de esperanza, y que todo el mundo debería de ser igual que Canadá en temas médicos. Pues no, cuando tratas de ir a un doctor, hoy en día ya no te reciben. Normalmente tienes que tener un doctor de cabecera. Todos los doctores de cabecera están completamente retacados, no están aceptando nuevos pacientes, y cuando tratas de ir, por ejemplo, al servicio de emergencia, porque no tienes de otra, te dejan en esperas no solo de horas, pero a veces de días, y cuando necesitas tratamiento, esos tratamientos pueden tardar no solo meses en darte espacio, pero años, y la gente termina sin básicamente ser curada y teniendo que acudir ya sea a otras opciones, a salirse del país o pues a vivir con una condición ya de por vida. Entonces, no creo que haya un ejemplo donde la gente pueda decir, esa es la mejor solución, pero pues este tipo de solución y este tipo de enojarse contra el sistema pues, tampoco funciona, y estamos viendo repercusiones de que la gente trate de tomar asuntos en sus propias manos, y lo estamos también viendo con pues todo este odio hacia Elon Musk, por ejemplo, yéndose en contra de gente que nada más tiene un Tesla y decide manejarlo, y sale la gente a tratar de culparlos a ellos por cosas con las que no están de acuerdo con Elon Musk. Entonces, deshacernos de la moral, la ética y de la razón, y de tratar de solucionar los problemas como deberían de ser solucionados, pues nunca es la respuesta, en mi opinión, y nunca debería de ser algo que la gente ve como bondadoso o bueno. ¡Ay, qué bueno que lo hizo este hombre! Y segundo, rápidamente, solo quería hablar rápidamente sobre la inteligencia artificial, y ahora hay muchos artistas enojados porque salió alguien a generar imágenes parecidas a esas de Estudio Ghibli, que es un estudio de animación japonés, creo, sí, un estudio de animación japonés, donde las imágenes ya se parecían demasiado, y ahora la gente está empezando a decir que cómo puede ser que la inteligencia artificial ahora probablemente le vaya a quitar muchísimo trabajo a artistas que han dedicado toda su vida a pues, hacer y aprender el arte que tratan de vender y de lo que tratan de vivir. Y sí, como la inteligencia artificial facilita el despojo del capital contra los trabajadores. Este hombre no me cae súper bien, pero bueno, aunque tal vez no lo imaginemos, detrás de la tendencia de imágenes estilo Ghibli generadas con inteligencia artificial que han inundado las redes sociales durante los últimos días, hay un lento pero constante proceso de despojo que el capital está haciendo sobre la clase trabajadora, y obviamente es muy fácil tratar de ponerlo como una lucha de clases o como quién se merece qué y cuánto vale el trabajo de alguien. Pero en mi opinión, tal vez nada más ayuda a impulsar, y como ya lo hemos dicho muchas veces, a facilitar justamente a estos mismos artistas que normalmente no tienen las oportunidades que quisieran tener, a, por ejemplo, formar conceptos mejor formados que luego se pueden vender. Entonces, no me encanta la inteligencia artificial, pero si no lo vemos como solamente un terrible mal que se va a ir en contra de cualquier persona que sea creativa y se quiere robar la creatividad de todo el mundo, si lo vemos más bien como algo que se puede usar como apoyo también, mucha gente podría empezar a generar aún más cosas que pueden interesar a la sociedad. Pero bueno, quería más bien hablar sobre Luigi Mangione y pues la moral torcida y tergiversada que vemos a veces con estas luchas de los progres que creen que la violencia debería de ser la solución, es la única solución. Pues no, se pueden buscar otro tipo de soluciones, se puede buscar hacer legislación, se puede pedir que cambien las leyes o que cambien el tipo de pólizas, a veces que también la gente tal vez necesita más instrucción para aprender qué quieren decir estas pólizas. Perdón, pero ahorita los leo, creo que traía como todo revuelto porque esta noticia salió el día de hoy, entonces quería nada más como que sacar la opinión de que no, la pena de muerte no es la solución, pero tampoco tratar de desvivir a cualquiera que te caiga mal o que tenga más dinero que tú. Como estoy muy dispersa, no hay muchos comentarios, pero gracias a Luis Medina Sánchez y Moisés Ramírez. Espero que estén muy bien. Gracias por comentar. Y pues sí, ahora sí nos vamos con la sección en inglés. Luego hacemos normalmente como cultura pop y entretenimiento, noticias más leves aquí en YouTube, y de ahí nos vamos a RUMBLE. El link está en la descripción para los que nos quieran seguir para ver más conversación política y de geopolítica y etcétera y de lo que está pasando, cosas de las que no podemos hablar realmente en YouTube porque nos bajan el en vivo. Pero ahora sí nos vamos en inglés. Buenas noches, muchas gracias a todos los que vinieron a la sección de español y ahora nos vamos con inglés. There we go. I was all over the place.
Well, what'd you say about Luigiani?
Mangione?
Luigiani.
Luigi Mangione. But I think I was...
Because I think me and you have different opinions on the...
Well, because we were supposed to record that for a clip, but I think it's a pretty much nonsensical clip that ended up happening because I was trying to say so many things, but I was trying to concentrate on what I was trying to say. So nothing came out really making out too much sense.
What was your overall opinion of the situation, though?
That ending the life of someone that is rich and powerful will not solve the actual problems of society.
Yeah, I think...
And that also ending of life sentences are also not conducive to, society getting better either.
Well, aren't they trying to give him the death penalty?
I was trying not to say that word.
Oh, okay.
But yes.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, we have a lot of people from around the world, so a lot of people might not know how the U.S. medical system works, but the privatized portion of it is really pushed like a pyramid scam from the sales side, and from the other side, people don't know what's in their policies. Their policies are very often written medical jargon. They don't have many choices. It's not like another company's going to offer them something drastically different. Mm-hmm. So it's really not the best system overall, and people very often go into bankruptcy and permanent medical debt in the States. But let's get into culture before we get into politics, I guess.
Yes, I was going to say we can talk about that more on Rumble. Maybe my ideas will make more sense then.
And we didn't have too many people chatting today, I think.
No, I'm guessing they're busy. It's Tuesday. People have more stuff to do usually. But yes, hold on. So Tom Hardy, our cover picture, says Venom crossover with Tom Holland's Spider-Man got as close as I could possibly imagine before falling apart.
Yeah, so Tom Hardy, this was a natural kind of coalition I thought you were going to see was Spider-Man and Venom, but I guess not. We got a lot of Spider-Man stories actually today because CinemaCon was today, and I don't think people are really caring about Spider-Man. There was 2 studios that kind of had the rights simultaneously, so there's been a lot of Spider-Man content pushed out over the last few years. Mm-hmm. So I think people may be burned out of it.
I don't know. I think it's one of the few properties that people still like because they have gone like pretty much to the woke side, but not as much as Marvel, for example. So they still have a little bit of hope for, I think, the Spider-Man ones.
I watch a lot.
And they've actually taken a bit more care with the stories than they usually do with, like, Marvel.
Yeah, I don't know. They got a whole new Spider-Man universe coming out. The most recent Spider-Man was extremely woke, the animated one. There's a huge backlash online about this as well right now. So I don't know. I'm kind of burned out of superhero movies in general. So Spider-Man doesn't really appeal to me too much, but we'll see.
You never really liked.
I like Tom Hardy, so there's very few actors that I would watch a movie because they're in it, and he's one of them. So
that's like watching yourself.
Okay, let's go to the next story here.
Oh God, I hate this. Sam Mendes's The Beatles movies, all 4 of them are coming out in April 2028. Cast confirmed at CinemaCon.
Yeah, this could be a good movie if they stay away from any wokeness. So the Beatles, they have a long history and things like that. So I wouldn't mind seeing a good, like, musical biographical pick. And the music will be phenomenal in that movie.
Well, I mean, yes, if they tried to use Beatles music. I don't know if they would have the rights or anything.
Oh, but Michael Jackson's family, do they still own the rights or no?
I don't know.
He bought the rights to all the catalog for the Beatles. He made more money off the Beatles than his own music, I believe. Yeah.
I did not know that. But I mean, I was going to say initially that they cast, we know at least with Sam Mendes and Barry Keoghan, they both are very feminine looking kind of guys. But at the same time, during like the Beatles era, that was also kind of in fashion. So it kind of does make sense. They couldn't cast like these like huge burly manly men because that wouldn't be true to who they are, but we'll see if they try to rewrite history or change certain things. I'd love to see if they're gonna touch on the Yoko subject, because that would be interesting to see how they try to spin it in 2025. And if they're going to try to wokeify or de-wokeify the story, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I wonder if it has to be already written if they're already casting it. So you're going to be...
But they can always do reshoots.
Yeah, but it had to be written in the woke era because things have just recently shifted. I was watching interesting take on Rachel Zegler, meaning the studio actually wouldn't have minded her pushing what she was pushing at the time, but the culture changed around her and the studio. So all that became extremely unacceptable. And now she's like the poster child for not to talk politics.
Well, yeah, and during the first rounds of publicity for Snow White, we did see, and it is very clear, especially in that one clip where she's saying, oh, she's not going to be saved by the prince anymore. The Gal Gadot is right next to her saying the exact same thing, and kind of, it's like they had the same words to say because she's finishing her sentences. So it is clear that Disney wanted to push that because they've been pushing that in a lot of their recent movies. There are a lot of their recent princess movies. I'd love to make a video about the change in how Disney treats its princesses as of late, but we also saw it with Frozen. They almost made Elsa a lesbian, but they didn't. It's implied, but they never went fully with it.
Toy Story as well, they did.
What did it? Oh, Buzz Lightyear. There was just a kiss that they then had to hide. But no, like with their characters, we do see this since the 90s, trying to make them these independent women that they can do everything. But I think the culture and the people getting tired of the DEI and the wokeness and the females that can do everything and have no flaws, I think the public itself was getting tired of that, and that's why most of the backlash came out from that rather than... Okay,
let's go into the next story here. We have Sydney Sweeney in final talks for Gundam movie at Legendary. So this is this would be huge for Sydney Sweeney. I think she's on the cusp of becoming like a star in this modern era. It's different than in previous eras. Even stars in this era really aren't at the same heights from previous generations. But there is so many built-in audiences for this movie, from anime to young adults to children to adults that grew up on the comic books as well. So also a lot of females that are in the video game space cross over well to movies because they bring that fan base with them. We had Olivia Munn who crossed over. I never really liked her, but she was on the video game network for a long time, and that allowed her to build a very loyal fan base for the rest of her career. So if Sydney Sweeney can get in this movie and this movie actually is done right, it could mean a permanent fan base for her.
And they've been using her for a lot of things too recently. Like she's one of those that they're trying to make into a movie star, but nowadays, we really don't see any movie stars anymore. But what's Gundam?
It's an anime with the big giant robots.
Okay.
So I'm not really into it, but I do know what it is from when I was a kid.
No idea. Apparently, also on the side, we can see John Wick Chapter 5 announced. Keanu Reeves is returning.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd touch on that because I saw it there. I know more about that one than the other ones.
What do you know about that one?
But again, they're just trying to reboot and redo the same thing over and over again. It's going to turn into Mission Impossible. Although I do like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I like Keanu Reeves, and the John Wicks are good, but I don't think I watched part 4. I watched part 1, and maybe I think I watched part 2 as well.
I watched one of the latest ones that had a lot of dogs in it. They were fighting somewhere in the Middle East.
Okay, what do we got next? I think YouTube revenue.
Yes, YouTube may be worth $550 billion, and its revenue could soon surpass Disney. This is actually an interesting story.
Yeah, and we were talking about this the other day at breakfast. So
we talked a bit about it on stream.
On stream a little bit, but I didn't get into the details of how Disney is able to manipulate their numbers. I don't know what the legal loopholes, but they've managed to manipulate the statistics. So basically, Disney's allowed to count every view that's on a phone, every view that's on a TV, every view that's on a computer. Anything that's on any form of media that's clicked for Disney Plus is counted. For YouTube, only television clicks are counted in their overall count. So the majority of people do not watch YouTube even on their TV. They watch it on their phone. So the fact that they're now actually passing Disney just on TV numbers alone says a lot about YouTube.
Yes. And so it was a research done by firm Moffett-Nathanson. And he said that he wrote on March 31st that YouTube should be officially crowned the new king of all media, with engagement topping all other media companies in February's Nielsen Gauge report, and with 2024 revenue of $54.2 billion, second only to Disney, predicting that now YouTube will be able to surpass Disney. And I think it also shows a bit more of like a democratization of content, but at the same time, we do see YouTube being favorable to certain creators over others, and it is harder to make it, but at least it's made mostly by the people.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens to Rumble over the next few years. They've been able to really kind of shut them down by limiting the advertisers that go to them. They had an advertising cartel that really was able to shut out Rumble and shut out X for a long time. X is starting to break through right now, but with the culture shift that's happening in the United States, I'm expecting advertisers to be more open-minded in the next, maybe it will still take a year or two before they, I think, really start migrating over to Rumble and spending their money there. And that can mean a huge change. Rumble does need to upgrade their interface, not only for their users, but for their content creators as well.
I don't know how much YouTube likes us talking about.
That's all right.
That. But I mean, I do think that the other platform, the green one, has decided to go in a way where they're trying to kind of be like YouTube, where they are paying these big content creators instead of tapping into the whole free speech thing that they basically built themselves on, and rather just allowing the biggest ones to get the biggest revenue share instead of getting people excited to use the platform, create more content for them, and also less political content. I mean, I think that's one of the pitfalls of Rumble.
Yeah,
that it's mostly just conspiracy theories and politics.
We chose Rumble because for the political side of our show, because we can speak freely. So it is a great asset to be able to speak so freely on a platform, and I'm glad to have that option. But I've been looking at other platforms to expand content, and I've never used Twitch at all. But when I clicked on it today, it's the first time I've ever been into the platform. The advertisers they have were like grade A advertisers. Mm-hmm. McDonald's. I didn't realize Amazon owns Twitch.
Yeah.
So Twitch actually, I don't know how many people watch Twitch. If anybody's
a lot.
If they do. So if anybody's
sure.
in our stream right now, let us know if you actually watch Twitch. I'd like to know.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's here from Una Alienada, I know she streams there, so I'm sure at least some of them do. But I've never really even tried to get into Twitch because at the time it came up and when I was kind of into YouTube and like searching other platforms and stuff, it was mostly just gaming.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we don't do gaming, we don't do super long streams, so there's no point. But
yeah, well, I'm maybe starting an afternoon show in a few weeks or a month, so I'm looking at other platforms. Obviously, I won't want to use YouTube for that because I like to speak freely, and you're constantly censoring me because I can't.
I have YouTube in the back of my head saying he can't say that, he can't say that.
So I'm probably just going to do that show on Rumble. Once I learn to use Rumble, then I'll simultaneously stream, hopefully on Rumble and Twitch. I don't know. She's the tech expert, so she's trying to teach me right now.
I'm not an expert.
But yeah, let's go into the next story.
Sure. 1 second.
So we got, okay, perfect.
Yankees, I did not understand this story. Yankees torpedo bats elicit shock and awe around baseball after a 13 home run weekend.
Yeah, so the Yankees are one of the biggest teams in the MLB, which is baseball in the States. And they went to MIT and paid somebody a lot of money to design a new bat that could hit home runs more effectively. And he created the bat, and sure enough, they're hitting home runs. So the way I think the bat was designed, from what I read, was the end of the bat is usually heavier and more dense. So what they were able to do was take the same type of wood grain from the end of the bat and put it in the sweet spot of the bat, so it was harder and it would hit more home runs. And these guys are hitting home runs right now. It's legal to do, so they're not doing anything illegal. But I think you're going to see a lot more teams start adopting this bat. I don't know if the Yankees are going to let the secret out, but yeah, we'll see.
It's out because it's published.
No, but actually how they made the bat.
Oh.
They might pay for a proprietary
copyright
or not to let it out. So these other guys are going to have to go to other geniuses, maybe from MIT as well, and get them to design a similar bat.
But are like fans and people angry, or is it just like a good thing?
Yeah, some people are angry, some people aren't. But people really liked back in my era. I remember Barry Bonds and Mark McGuire. They were on the juice, and during that time it was home run after home run, and MLB kind of turned a blind eye for a while. So sports typically like home runs because baseball is a boring sport overall. The one exciting aspect is the home run. So I think they're going to embrace this bat.
Okay.
The torpedo bat.
I know nothing about that, so...
Well, but in Mexico, every time you're looking at what's trending, it's always sports.
Sports are always trending in Mexico. I think they are way bigger than I think I'm used to coming from Canada. And when I was younger, I never really cared about... I still don't care about sports, but...
Yeah, in Canada, sports aren't really big. They're big, but not it's like in the States.
About it. Or here.
Yeah.
Because, most of the searches on Google Trends, at least lately, are all about several different sports, and I never know what people are searching. But let's keep talking about CinemaCon and films. Danny Boyle needs money to finish his 28 Years Later trilogy. Boyle encouraged fans to support the first two films at a CinemaCon presentation.
Okay, there was... I had seen the trailer for the 28 Days Later, and it looks good, and I like the first one.
Years later or days later?
This one's years later, but the Days Later was a phenomenal movie as well. I don't expect him to have trouble finding funding for this movie because there should be a built-in fan base for this. So we'll see what happens. But when he was on stage at CinemaCon doing this presentation saying they needed money for financing, he had some very, very woke people on stage with him. And a lot of people were saying if he's trying to look for funding, he may want to distance himself from those particular people. But
yes.
Do you have anything about this? Did you see the first 28 Days Later or no?
No.
Oh, you didn't? The zombies?
No.
Okay.
No idea what we're talking about still.
So to read Torpedo Bat and zombie movies, you don't know?
No.
Okay. Or Gundam. You don't know any of the stories today?
No. This one I do. Disney's woke Snow White heading for a $115 million loss. Controversy-laden film had one of the entertainment giant's most unsuccessful box office opening weekends for a live-action remake, but it seems like there's a lot of writers and people that work within the media industry of Hollywood. So Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, all of these news publications that mostly just talk about films, trying to help out by saying it's only losing $115 million when it actually is probably losing a lot more because they never take into account...
$300 million, I'm thinking.
They never take into account how much merchandising and advertising costs because those are never really included in the overall cost of movies.
I'm thinking at a minimum it's going to lose $300 million. I'm thinking off the books it could lose $500 million easily because this thing's not going to sell merchandise. They probably made merchandise for it. If you know, this movie cost around $250 to $300 million to make, and that was just to make the movie because the amount of reshoots. Typically on a movie you spend double the advertising budget. So if the movie costs $300 million to make, it's another $300 in advertising. So that's a $600 million movie. Plus then you have the merchandising costs and everything on top of that. So this is going to be one of the biggest blunders in modern history. Mm-hmm. But we can go to the next story because we've covered Snow White in depth on this channel.
We have, yes. And I mean how they're trying to shield their star. Hold on. I have to fix some stuff in the computer.
Okay, the next one is a Spider-Man story as well. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse set for 2027. Release date reveals first looks at CinemaCon.
And also they revealed Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is the ones with Tom Holland that Tom Hardy was speaking about maybe being in, but then not really.
That was a lazy title as well, Brand New Day. Like, let's come up with some better titling.
Because one was Homecoming, and I don't remember what the other one was called. But I'm guessing Brand New Day, maybe they're alluding to...
They should have put...
I haven't really followed them because...
They should have put Venom in the title and Spider-Man versus Venom. And then,
but he's not coming.
I know, but it would have been worth it just for the titling, and the title would have implied Tom Hardy was in it as well. So it would have been self-advertising. But then they would have had to bring him in. Yeah, okay. They should have. He said it was that close, and it failed at the last minute.
But yes, I haven't really followed the Spider-Man movies, the ones with Tom Holland, because they got a little bit boring, honestly. But I think they have been, like, Tom Holland has been one of the few actors that I think a lot of people just like, regardless of
Sorry, our dog's running around.
kind of what he says or what he does. He's mostly beloved by the people because he's quirky and he also keeps his mouth shut about a lot of things. He doesn't express political opinions. I think he's one of the few that could actually come up, or like they could make him into more of a movie star, because he keeps himself likable and he doesn't really delve too much into politics.
Yeah, like I'm so burned out of the CGI in superhero movies. That's why I really liked Joker 1 so much. And Spider-Man and especially Venom just requires a ton of CGI because of the dynamic superpowers of the heroes in those movies. So I'm really drawn to movies like more like The Punisher, although they haven't made a really good Punisher yet, in my opinion. I want to see something really dark and really gritty. Yeah. The TV series was okay. So.
No idea. But I mean, and then going into Beyond the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Spider-Verse, I mean, Miles Morales, yes, it is a comic book character, but it is a closer to actuality comic book character. So, of course, that one was steeped in a lot of wokeness and basically, yeah, ruined it because of that.
Okay,
I knew someone that worked on it. That's about as much as I can say. Warner Brothers, Jeff Goldstein sounds alarm on economics of making movies. We have to figure out how we can right the ship. Apparently, they're too expensive.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday, and with the coming of AI, if they plan for how they're going to remake movies too early, they're going to have to relearn it again once AI comes. And this is the era of, like, people aren't coming out for stars as much as they used to be. Mm-hmm. So a star doesn't really drive a movie like it used to. Yeah. And people are really burned out of a lot of these universe characters, like Marvel universe characters. So the character themselves doesn't even bring somebody out.
And they've also, I think, boxed themselves into streaming. Like they made the error of also relying too much on streaming, where people now themselves are relying too much on streaming, and the whole audience that they had at one point has been fragmented in a way into those who watch only shows on streaming, those who still want to go to the movie theaters, those who wait till the movie comes out of the theaters and into streaming, which before, I mean, people would go see a movie in the cinemas and then maybe buy the DVD because of the extras or they want to rewatch it. But now they, number one, don't have to do that, but number two, can just wait till it goes on streaming. And because the services are so fragmented, people have also decided to use one streaming service over another one, so they're missing out on huge chunks of audience capture that they could have had, that they used to have before.
Yeah, it just doesn't have, they don't have the same audience capture that they used to have Hollywood, because shorter and shorter attention spans, and you're right, streaming. So they need to find a way to, they're going to need good writers and good executives to pull things like this off, but they need to complement their streaming services with their major studios and major Hollywood releases. So, you know, build up to prequels and things like that on streaming with limited series that rolls in right into the movie, that rolls back onto streaming on the back end with a sub-character or something like that.
And also maybe, as I was saying with Tom Holland,
but you need good writers for that, because that's a lot of content. And if one of those pieces of content fail, people aren't going to keep following. Yes. But continue.
Well, and also I feel like the fact that there are no movie stars, big movie stars anymore, which we were talking about yesterday as well, is also a fact that movies aren't that interesting to people. They go watch a movie maybe for the topic, but the ability of one person or two people to draw huge audiences just because they're in the movie is no longer there either. And the studios used to try to tailor and be very careful about the stars that they were trying to build up. They would have huge marketing pushes, but now with artists becoming more relatable and being on Instagram and being able to show their whole lives, people have decided to just invest in that more than the movie itself that they're in.
Yeah, I really think that Hollywood within the next maybe 20 years are going to be looking for YouTubers and people that have created connections with their audiences to start moving into movies, because they'll have a built-in audience, especially if you have like 40 million subscribers or something like that. If you have that many people watching you on a regular basis, then putting that person in a movie is more of a safe bet. They've already kind of been looking at people's social media followings, so it's a natural step that they would start bringing YouTubers and things like that in.
I mean, well, hopefully it's talented YouTubers, because we have seen them try to use influencers as movie stars because of that huge audience they have, and then movies or series don't perform well because they're not actually performers. That's not their actual job, so they don't know what they're doing.
But they have succeeded in garnering YouTubers that are in the photography space and in the video space that talk about, what would you say, how to do photo, how to do videos on YouTube. That's really where they started. How to shoot, how to use equipment, talking about equipment. And they've brought a lot of those YouTubers over to mainly commercials so far, but a couple films as well. And man, the content has been phenomenal. We go into the last story of the day on YouTube. It's a little shorter today.
High stakes executive drama descends on CinemaCon. Who's in, who's out?
So why don't you...
Veteran movie studio chief Tom Rothman kicks off the action Monday night when presenting Sony's slate to theater owners. Rest assured, it won't be his last time on stage at the annual gathering, but that's not the case for all the presenters. So we are seeing a lot of people in charge of studios leave.
No, so yeah, also what I think this article was talking about was typically at CinemaCon, you have people presenting 2, 3, 4 times, especially if they're more well-known and they have some cachet to their name. But this year they're trying to limit presenters just presenting once. Very few presenters are being allowed to present more than once. So... it's interesting. They need to really start bringing stars into the CinemaCon to present rather than executives.
But I mean, they are there to watch what the executives say.
Yeah, but it's starting to become a big, what would you call it, convention.
Yes,
so,
con.
Well, it's like kind of when Comic-Con started, it was small. A lot of stars actually didn't go to Comic-Con.
Yes.
It was a lot of nerds talking on stage. Now it's the actual creators and the people.
Which is what a lot of the people that used to really like Comic-Con don't like anymore. That it's been infiltrated by all these stars.
And I think we had
that they can't talk about the real things anymore.
And we did have one more story, which was Kid Rock. I thought that was the one you were going to go into.
No.
And so Kid Rock appears with Donald Trump at White House as POTUS signs executive order on concert ticket reselling. And this was the one story I didn't have a chance to read all the way through.
Okay.
So why don't you read a little bit of it?
Sure. So Trump welcomes Kid Rock to White House for order targeting scalpers, so ticket scalpers. President Donald Trump invited Kid Rock into the Oval Office on Monday and signed an executive order that says he will help curb ticket scalping and bring common sense changes to the way live events are priced. Anyone who's bought a concert ticket in the last decade, maybe 20 years, no matter what your politics are, knows it's a conundrum, said Kid Rock, wearing his bedazzled suit. So basically, yes, they're trying to stop the price gouging by middlemen, and we have seen a lot of the stories for concerts from Taylor Swift to a bunch of other ones where it's impossible to get tickets, ticket prices go up, there's a lot of people reselling them, and there's no real controls or ways for example, Ticketmaster to do anything about it. And they don't want to do anything about it.
And I think I used to have the view that you did, and then I researched this a little bit more, and it's actually...
I don't have a view.
It's corporate middlemen, it's not people buying the tickets in mass. It's mainly corporate middlemen that are coming in and buying these tickets en masse and then reselling them on their corporate websites. So it's become a business. A very it's not your typical scalper that's doing it. It's actually
it's probably the scalpers that got
incorporated companies that are doing this now that have major backers behind them, like BlackRock. Yeah, these are huge companies that are doing this, really and they're buying up entire stadiums of tickets so people can't get them. And so then they can fix the price.
But then why doesn't Ticketmaster try to stop them? Or the people that are actually selling the tickets, why don't they?
A lot of times they work in conjunction with them, things like this. They're willing to pay a higher price to Ticketmaster right off the bat and buy all the tickets. So it benefits Ticketmaster as well. So
I know there were some issues with tickets here. I don't remember if it was for Shakira or for who, but here in Mexico there was this huge uproar also about tickets and Ticketmaster.
Okay, we're going to go over to Rumble in a minute. We do have a lot of political stories. The political stories were a lot better than the cultural stories
that's why
today.
We're kind of bleh.
But do you have anything else here?
Follow us to Rumble.
Yeah, we have
the green
we have
monster,
the link
as you call it. Yeah, link is in the description below. Thank you so much for being here on YouTube. We'll see you there. And yes, the stories for that one are the
we'll talk about a few of them right now, actually.
Sure.
So the Canadian, we have a story about a Canadian hacker that was involved with the truckers. He was busted in Texas today.
The protests.
The protest. Russia warns the U.S. We'll go into what they warned them about, and we'll go more into Mangione, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see you over
this time.
at the Green Monster, RUMBLE.
Yes, link is down below. Hold on. Hopefully it doesn't restart on YouTube again.